Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Eagles are in the playoffs, and no one's happy about it. I am John Barchard. This is the Watching the Birds Social Club and Podcast, and I have got someone to introduce to you who is going to be our executive playoff producer pretty much throughout this run, because I don't think they're going to be one and done. Mr. Kyler Gammon. Kyler, what's going on, buddy?
How's it going? Man, I'm so excited to be on this run. I've been with you, John, specifically since 2022. That run, it was good up until the very end and James Bradbury, but no, I mean,
you had to say his name, huh? You just had to say his name.
I'm sorry. The dagger healed most of those wounds for me.
Yeah, and the beer we shared in Indianapolis as well. So
that was, yeah, man, that's really where it all started. And I was talking to you on that phone call last week, and I'm just so excited. I believe in this, really in this show, but I believe in this community as well. I think just some of the stuff we can do in this community is really, really special. If you don't know me, follow me on X at Kyler_Gammon. I live in Nashville, and the Eagles just so happen to play in Nashville next year. I'm also from the Illinois area, and they also play in Chicago next year. So just kind of little tidbits for next season of what we could do with this, but
a lot of road trips is what we're saying.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of meetups, and I love it.
Well, here's something that I find interesting as we are trying to meet up together just to get on the same page for the playoffs. There are so many people yesterday that were completely unhappy. I think you were one of them in terms of how the game went. I'm just going to say my piece, and then you tell me if I'm like way off base here. This team told you it was resting starters fucking 3 or 4 days ago. Do you think they're actually game planning against the Commanders? It's an evaluation game. We said that we wanted to see where Tanner McKee was, and with Darius Cooper and a sloppy offensive line, he is not a superstar, as we all imagined. If there's anybody that truly thought that Tanner McKee was a solution to Jalen Hurts' struggles, then you've been listening to Howard Eskin too much. Sit down, you big fat baby, and stop listening to that crap. It's one guy on WIP and one guy that used to be on WIP, and suddenly it's like, oh, everybody thinks Tanner McKee's better than Jalen Hurts. No one has said that. 0 people have said that. He is a perfect backup for Jalen Hurts in this team. He is not going to get you out of danger. He needs help because he would be starting otherwise. And I still think he could be a great starter, a la if you put him in Kyle Shanahan, which we'll be talking about him in a little bit here too, in a Shanahan system to go run that and win you football games. I've said that he could probably still win you a Super Bowl and play the best 3 or 4 games of his life if the starters are here. I still believe that. But the other thing is the seeding. Everyone is yelling about the seeding like, oh, the second seed is such a big deal. Tell me where I'm missing this. Tell me where Chicago is this huge threat in the second round. Once you get past the 49ers, everybody has never really been in the playoffs like this.
I see where you're coming from. My biggest thing on what you just said, and the biggest thing I'll give you pushback on is I think playing in Chicago is a really, really, really tough place to play. And the reason why I say that is that fan base is going to be juiced up for their playoff run just because they haven't been in the playoffs for a very long time. They're a loyal fan base. They've been they've been around. They're one of the very first franchises of the NFL. So I think going up to Chicago is going to be a really, really tough place to play. Kevin Patullo, man, I would like to dive into his brain on what he actually thinks on the sidelines because there can't be a lot of brain cells there at times, I feel like, because Tank Bigsby yesterday, he had 16 carries for 106 total yards, 4.7 a carry, and he doesn't see the ball the whole fourth quarter. It blows my mind.
But do you have
that is the part I'm frustrated with. Again, I get it. Hindsight's 2020. I would have loved to play the starters to try to get that 2 seed. The home games play a huge part in that for me. Because again, hello, newsflash, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have never won a playoff game on the road.
Oh,
they're
my
0-2. We'll see. I mean, if they come out flat next week against that San Francisco defense, who got gashed up against them by Seattle and their run defense. So again, you would think I'd probably use Saquon and Tank more. Kevin, we'll see if that rest was a huge factor. I'm wanting to hope it is. I'm optimistic that it is. I don't know how after I've watched 18 games of this offense and we haven't seen a complete game out of them. I'm optimistic, John. I really am. I think this defense is a large part in that. I'm optimistic that the offense can get the ball rolling and hopefully some fireworks at the link on Sunday at 4:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, what a great time for that. Speaking of that, the Tank Bigsby thing in general, I agree with. Tank Bigsby thing for this game is making me laugh. Like, how come you didn't go win the game? Right. Same thing on that 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1. I think that was the biggest complaint of the game. Why you're having Tanner throw there? Because you have to see where he's at. Like, I would rather, if this game is about, can this dude go win a playoff game with the starters? It looks like he can to me, even with that performance or whatever. Secondly, this whole thing about Chicago and like it being such a feared place, maybe if it was like they've won a couple of playoff games, they get to an NFC championship game, but the Chicago Bears, as the resident Cubs fan of the Discord, is nothing more than a bunch of yelling old people that just want a playoff win. And the pressure in Chicago is way more on that team than it would be in Philadelphia coming in. And you add that to the inexperience of Ben Johnson's been around. I'm not saying he hasn't been in a playoff environment before, but Caleb hasn't, and most of that defense hasn't. Between like the 49ers and the Bears, two of the weakest defenses you could draw. So like, yes, am I terrified that Kevin Potato is not going to hand off to Tank Bigsby when it's obvious, or like Saquon's not working or any of that? Yes, this team has decided it's going to survive the regular season. It did. It did so in a fashion which we never want to go through again because it wasn't entertaining. And
at all.
Now the goal is to score 21 points. And I know that everybody's kind of tweaking out right now. We're like, they probably won't even get 14 or whatever it is. Yeah, I guess. But like, I don't expect some magic thing to just like make this offense click, or, you know, Kevin Potato finally gain a ton of experience. And I think we have focused, we're all guilty of this too, I'm including myself. We're so focused on head coach, offensive coordinator, and QB that we have not talked about the interior line just being dog shit. And that's really what's holding up a lot of the creativity that we're looking for. You know, I do think Jalen is limited. I do think Nick is limited. And when you have those two things put together with the way the offensive line is playing in general, that's what you're going to get. The whole thing about having a discussion with any of these guys no longer can be normal. It's all just one side or the other, which I think is why no one feels that confident about even this first round. But man, like 21 points, Vic Fangio, a semi-healthy shouldered JC. I'll take that. I will take that after a year where you just won the Super Bowl. And despite all this, I have a ton of confidence that they're going to end up in the NFC Championship game. Do you have any of that confidence? Or are you feeling like...
I'm on the fence of, I just have to see it. I feel like there's been points in the season where I really feel like that this offense is starting to really turn the corner. And I first got bit after that lowly Giants game with the Kelly Greens on, because I was like, man, Saquon just had a breakaway run. Landon had some juice, it felt like. I was like, okay. I was like, maybe they just needed to get healthy. And man, I'm going to be honest with you, man. And I've said this to my dad a little bit. If he is that bad enough and you get into this playoff game and he is just whiffing left and right, and I know he's in concussion protocol, I wouldn't be mad if Toth got in there and made some run blocks or just made some blocking in general, because he really didn't play terrible whenever he had to fill in for Cam. And again, like, your season's on the line. I mean, you got to pull out all the stops. I think Toth's been a really great run blocker. If that's what you need to get this run offense going, I think you got to do something. I mean, because again, Cam has showed you time and time again, he is whiffing on blocks left and right. I mean, it is really, really bad. It's hilarious that the Eagles, their social team posted that slow-mo Saquon run, and he's getting obliterated at the line right off rip, and Saquon has to spin out of it. With this defense, anything's possible. I will say that. After the whole cornerback fiasco of yesterday, which was just, oh my goodness. I'm never going to doubt Vic Fangio ever again. He could do anything, and I'll say it's the right move. And this pass rush specifically that's really, really getting home as of late, and Jalix Hunt, my goodness, is he a football player? Anything is possible. But again, I think with some of these high-powered offenses, and I really think Seattle can really get things going if you're not careful, I'm not sold. I'm not there yet as far as the offense goes. I have to see it because it's been 18 weeks of the same product, and it's just not moving me.
All right, then I've had enough coffee to piss people off. If you feel like Kyler, then you really don't believe in Jalen Hurts, the playoff make, because I do. This is my whole point with getting to this point. I am glad the fucking regular season's over. Want to know why? Because Jalen Hurts is Kirk Cousins in the regular season. He wins you games, and he's whatever. And I said this in the Discord last night. He does stuff that pisses you and me off. Kevin Potato and the crew probably do it more this year than anybody. That's a given. The missed touchdowns, all that stuff from Jalen that everybody cares to ignore, and they say every quarterback does it. He's done it consistently again for the last 2 seasons. So that's my hang-up with the passing offense. I agree that it's a shitty route tree. I agree that they should be handing off to Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby? Yeah, that's right. But, I mean, there are still plays that have been left on the table for 2 years. Not a game, not the Chargers game, not just Chicago. It happens, okay? That's Jalen's flaw at the moment. I still think that can get better, by the way. But man, he is John fucking Elway in the postseason. And I call him Danny Briere here because, Philadelphia Flyers. Danny Briere was a dominant postseason player for the Flyers, and he had an okay regular season. Jalen will find a way to win. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan is very good in the playoffs. I know that there's this mystique that he somewhat is or whatever, but this is a perfect situation for them. Well, I'll put it this way. Would you rather have Jalen fully confident or fully doubted going into the playoffs?
Oh, fully doubted, 100%. Because every single time he's been doubted, he's shown up. He has shown up. That's the thing that I do love about QB1, and I told you this, I think last week. He's a psycho, and I love that he's my psycho.
Yes.
Because he just loves winning, and so does Nick. Yeah, that's a great point that you make, because, again, I'll take QB1 any day when it comes to the postseason. However, he has to win a road playoff game. He has to do it, because, again, in this NFL, it's really hard to just have home playoff games. Again, having Washington beat Detroit last year, that helped us out and really set up the whole run for us. So I'm not saying Jalen Hurts cannot do it. I have full faith in QB1 because, again, he played, and we don't want to talk about this, he played like Kirk Cousins against Green Bay and the Rams last year. If it was not for Saquon Barkley and Jalen, again, making the plays that he needs to make, he really wasn't spectacular. He had a hemp leg and took a safety against the Rams last year, and we don't talk about that because we're so caught up in that long Saquon run, which was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life as an Eagles fan, and that Jalen Carter play that saved the season. I just have to see it. That is my thing. It has not passed the eye test for me. Do I think he can do it? Absolutely. That's all he does is just win playoff games. He's done it since his first full year as a starter, whenever they made the switch to have Shane as the play caller, and that whole season turned around, and being a run-first team, he's done it. He's done it time and time again, and he's shown up in the big moments. However, I just need to see him do it without the worst-ranked defense in the league and without receivers like Jalen Reagor that he's throwing to. Because again, that's his 2 playoff losses. Ever since, it's been the 2023 collapse, which was just terrible from the start, and it's been his first year as a starter, which, that Tampa defense at the time, I believe they won the championship that year.
Yeah, 21 with Tom Brady.
21, yeah, right, yeah. So, have full faith in Jalen and Nick. It's ignorant for me not to. I just have to see it.
Look at Kyler with his fake faith, trying to say, save face and go like, oh, no, I believe it. I just got to see it. That's not faith, my friend. That's worry. You are worried. And so I would say is the majority of Eagles fans right now, and maybe I have that wrong. Everybody is shitting their pants because they know what's coming. They know that there is a 3-point squeeze in San Francisco, and they know that there's a 2-point win coming in Chicago, and then cross your fingers for Seattle.
Cross your fingers.
Yeah,
cross your fingers.
Cross your fingers. Absolutely. I'm crossing mine. I said stay away from Seattle. Like, it is a danger zone. I agree. Having a 2 or a 3 seed doesn't keep you from that. But here's where I have faith, and it's not even Eagles related. Something stupid is going to happen on Wild Card weekend. The Packers beat the Bears. The Panthers beat the Rams, and that doesn't really help the Eagles that much.
Well,
Seattle could fall.
It'd be amazing.
Around. Oh, it'd be funny. It'd be hilarious. But you still have a ton of the same issues that the Eagles are going through. Every single NFC team is going through it, and probably at a worse clip. The 49ers are a perfect example. They were streaky as hell, and then they don't have a defense. They got injured. They're making moves early in the season where you're like, oh, man, they might be giving up on the year, and then they catch a hot streak in that stupid they haven't punted since November 30th stat went around for a month, neglecting all the Brock Purdy and Mac Jones fucking interceptions during that time too. But that's neither here nor there. These teams are all heavily flawed, and none of them have a defense as good as the Philadelphia Eagles. None of them. You want to argue Seattle? Fine. I think that the Eagles have better playmakers. Seattle might have a better defense, but I'm just like so ready for this. This entire season just felt like, let's just get to the postseason. Let's just get to the postseason. Now, I am not saying that there's going to be some magic, oh my God, this is it. You wouldn't be surprised if they came out and finally said, okay, guess what, fuckers? Under center 95% of the game. Would that not surprise you?
I hope. I have all the faith and confidence in the world in Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni to back him up. The other core around this offense, and I still give benefit of the doubt to Jeff Stoutland, because how can I not? I know his name has kind of been thrown under the fire, as I could see on Twitter, and I'm like,
because it's easier to do than blame the quarterback or coach. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. This defense is nasty. You could argue that this defense is better than last year's defense, which is just insane for me to say. I think Seattle's corners, I mean, man, that's a lethal duo with Witherspoon and Woolen out there. I mean, those guys match up very well against Devontae and AJ. I don't know.
You have your doubts. You have your doubts that they're going to be able to come out.
I can't help but not. It's been 18 weeks of this product, and this offense sputters around like it's an old 1955 Chevy half the time. So,
wait a minute. But that's my issue, is that we keep saying this, is that, hey, nothing's changed except for the offensive coordinator. Nothing's changed for the offensive. Saquon Barkley is 1,000 yards short of where he was last year. 1,000.
True.
Not like a little bit. Not like it's gone from what the most successful thing about the Eagles were last year. You've got two 1,000 wide receivers, or 1,000-yard wide receivers again, and nobody feels like they are. There's 11 wins on the board. It probably should have been 12. I agree. Mm-hmm. And there's two 1,000-yard wide receivers. Jalen Hurts has the most passing touchdowns of his career. If I told you that at the beginning of the year, you'd be like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. But you wouldn't believe me if I said, by the way, that offense is garbage and nothing works. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I see exactly what you see. I see a fucking mess. I see that they don't want to commit to a quick passing game because that's what they really need, and they haven't done that. What do you want them to do? You don't have an offensive line that works. Saquon Barkley is hanging on by a thread, and this year the star is the defense, and we've got to accept that by now. To your point, we've seen this for 18 weeks. That defense might be an all-timer in the stretch of these 2 years, 24 to 25, and maybe into 26, and a lot of that has to do with Cooper DeJean being drafted, Bond hitting, and Nakobe Dean not being Desmond Ridder. We're going to leave that there.
Man, John, I'm sorry, man. That's an all-time. That's an all-time
bad one.
That's an all-time bad one. Yeah, that's an all-time bad one. Well, I mean, one thing I'll add on to this defense, and I know I'm speaking the very obvious. If Quinion or Adoree go down, we are screwed.
Dude,
mega screwed.
If Epps goes down, we're screwed.
Yes, 100% we are.
I said this yesterday. Do you agree? Sidney Brown is the only player that I could give a beer can to and give the beer can a concussion.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. He'll probably just take the beer can and just ram it right into his head instead of drinking it.
Keely Ringo was supposed to be as good as Quinion Mitchell during training camp. At one point, those things were said. And
man, what an all-time miss that was.
And
wow.
Why aren't we yelling at him to tackle Josh Johnson, who's been on 16 NFL teams? You know what I'm saying?
That was Nate Gary level bad yesterday by Keely.
Yeah, I mean, somebody bring it up.
Well, Ross Tucker made a great point on the broadcast. He literally pointed out, like, as the play was happening, he said, "Oh my goodness," and I was like, "What happened?" Because you don't just yell that out unless you see something egregious. And they showed the replay, and Keely just literally saw the football and said, "Nah, I'm gonna run behind me and go to the receiver." When he sees Josh Johnson running for the end zone, you shouldn't be on the playoff roster. Terrible. Like at least Ja'Cory and Bennett just had PIs. There were just penalties. He's just way too physical. A lot of the frustration yesterday really, really pans up to that. I mean, I think it's a big buildup of like a lot of things. Canner really being up and down. The offensive line, man, Matt Pryor is terrible at right tackle.
Yeah. What the fuck? Kind of real quick. Why do they keep doing that? Me and Tebu in the Discord, like for weeks.
I have no idea.
What is the deal? He's a good guard. Our good friend Frankie blitzing through again, like once or twice in his lane, and you're just like, oh my god. And I was laughing that you said Ja'Cory and Bennett's just physical. That's all he is. He's just a muscle with no agility.
or like any awareness that, hey, I'd probably turn around and find the football here.
You just go sign Justin Simmons, please, before the playoffs start.
Oh, my word. Somebody.
Holy fuck.
Oh, boy. I mean, if 27 or 8, I cannot believe I'm here at the playoffs, and I'm saying with my own eyes, if Adoree Jackson goes down, we are screwed. I cannot believe I'm here at this point in the season. Whenever I was in the stands week 1, and I literally, I will never forget this for as long as I live, and I tell the story all the time. On that, I think it was that first or second drive by Dallas, CeeDee Lamb was on the right side of the line. I was like, you know what? On this play, I'm going to watch Adoree Jackson this whole time and see how he does against CeeDee. He got absolutely cooked, and as soon as he got cooked, I yelled to Dad. I said, uh-oh. And, of course, Dak threw that threw that deep bomb on the right sideline, and CD caught it. I can't believe we're here at that point in the season, but that's just the master of Vic Fangio. My goodness. Let me ask you this question, John. As someone who, now for context, I'm 23 years old, so I didn't get the chance to really, really remember or really watch growing up that Jim Johnson defense. I'll just ask
Holy
you point.
Shit, I'm old.
Point.
Oh my God, I'm old.
Dude, listen. I remember.
Wait. No one has ever said that to me in my life. So it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I wasn't around when Jim Johnson was around. Holy shit. I'm going to go get my fucking prostate checked immediately. Oh, all right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to make you feel old, man. I remember Juan Castillo as my DC, so we've come a long way. I mean, for the longest time, I thought Jim Schwartz was the best that I've seen in Philly.
Okay.
I mean, think about that.
Then there's pretty good context. I would say Jim Schwartz and Jim Johnson are very, very similar in terms of what they like to do in terms of aggressiveness, not necessarily scheme. So, like, if you want to see a one-to-one scheme, Steve Spagnuolo is basically still running it in Kansas City. That's Jim Johnson. I want to hit you between the A-gaps with my linebackers. I believe in man coverage. I believe in sending tons of pressure, and you're going to make a mistake. Vic Fangio is probably the complete opposite of that. You know, when you look at his system, it's completely simple compared to those other things. Like, he's not doing crazy things like inverted cover 2 where the safeties drop down and the corners go back and pretend like they're safeties. He's not doing any of that stuff. He is forcing you always. 4 guys. I'm going to bring 5. You're not going to know what side it's on. I'm huge into the linebackers. It's probably what got Howie Roseman out of that rut for so long of not having good linebackers. He's like, hey, fucker, you know, and that's what's confusing for everybody. It's because now with Bond and DeJean and eventually Campbell, which I'm still very excited for his coverage, and they need to get him off the line or find a way to get him to the pass rusher. That's where I see a much more advanced looking Jim Johnson, you know, and relying on JC and JD to do the dirty work, and I want my ends to clean up. Where, like, normally in those 4-3 defenses, the edges are your superpowers. Like, they run it, like your Myles Garrett's. Why he's having an all-time year this year, right? With him and Jim Johnson. Jim Schwartz. See what you made me do? I don't believe here, it might be in the back of our heads, but Vic Fangio is an all-timer Buddy Ryan game changer in the NFL. There's not anybody else that runs his system the way he does, and there's plenty of people that copy it, a la Jonathan Gannon. Well, here's a great reference point. Can you imagine being sold now that we have seen this, that Jonathan Gannon and Vic Fangio are the same? Fuck no.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like,
somebody actually got to stop in the Super Bowl.
Right,
you know?
Right. So
in the second half.
I guess that's where I look at all your concerns with Kevin Patullo. And they are righteous, by the way. I reached, like, I'm with you guys. That's why I don't understand. I am with everybody. This OC was the wrong choice for this group. And whatever the decision was behind it was silly. You need an outside voice if it's always going to be Nick and Jalen, and we know that by now. But you see the difference between that panic you had telling your dad about that Adoree Jackson touchdown, because Vic looked at the same thing as like, we're not fucking doing this anymore. Guess what? Your short side of the field, your long side of the field. Quignon's going to cover more grass. Adoree, you don't have to. I'm going to send you Cooper and all those guys to manage that. The secondary has never looked worse than it did from that moment, I don't think. And the Eagles offense don't have the ability to do that. And one of the biggest reasons that we never talk about is Howie Rose. I am sure if you looked at the sidelines of that game, somebody wanted to play that game. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, half of the offense, half of the defense. Guys wanted to play. Yeah. And you're never going to get the, why aren't we going to bench Cam because he's affecting the entire offensive line in a run at a title? Because he's got $84 million and Howie Roseman forbids you from doing it. Nick Sirianni does not have control of the 53-man roster. And if you don't believe me, look at the inactives, the practice squad call-ups every single week. Like, he is meticulous about all that stuff. You have to be. And this isn't just like, sorry, they're playing bad football, we can adjust this. So that's why I'm not like egging Kevin Patullo's house, everyone. Because they all made the decision, whether it was against Jalen Hurts' wishes or not. They all made the decision together. So I'm confident that Vic can constantly adjust enough in these playoffs to go back to the NFC Championship game. And like I said, we'll tie our butts together and jump in the old Seattle Seahawks pool of hate. And hopefully it goes the way we think it does with Sam Darnold. Yeah, I think it does with that defense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll just tell you this. If we have a scenario like last year where obviously we all thought Detroit was our biggest threat last year, if Seattle somehow, some way gets upset and they get knocked off by whoever, I think we have a really, really good shot of at least getting back. Because again, with this defense, I think anything is possible. Just because he deserves it. I got to get Jalen Hunt his flowers, man. My goodness, is he a football player? I think he leads the team, and fact check me on this. I think he leads the team in interceptions and I think sacks, which is just unbelievable stuff out of an outside linebacker.
Somebody tweet that out.
I want to say that I've read that somewhere.
6.5 sacks. What was it? Him and Jomo were kind of trading sack leaders at one point, I think. So I think you might be right.
But yeah, I mean, I got to give him his flowers because he played just tremendous yesterday. All I want for Christmas is, which is already passed. I would just love to see this run game finally get going because we've seen it in spurts. I honestly think against that Washington game a couple weeks ago, one of our starters played, that you saw that. Now, granted, it was against a bad run defense, but however, the Niners just got gashed. I mean, there's a video of John Lynch, in agonizing yelling that Kenneth Walker was destroying them from that Monday Night Football broadcast. And it's like, you built this defense, man. Why are you this upset? You can gash the Niners. I think you can gash that Chicago defense. To your point earlier about going to Chicago, I'm telling you this right now, and I think it'll be the same downfall as Denver because Denver has the same problem. You cannot win in the playoffs, winning close game after close game after close game after close game like that. There will come a time where Chicago will try to make this a crazy comeback, or Denver is going to try to make this crazy comeback, and they can't do it because they fell behind way too early. That will be their downfall, and it wouldn't surprise me if Green Bay knocks off Chicago round one. It wouldn't shock me for that reason. One of these teams in this wild card is going to get upset, and I think it's hard to win in this league just winning close game after close game after close game, one score after one score, comeback after comeback.
Even if the Bears end up winning, which I think they will, I just want you and everyone else that's thinking that they might be scared of them, watch how they play at home against the Packers, a division rival, a 9-6-1 team who lost Micah Parsons.
And is limping into the playoffs.
Yes, I guarantee you they're going to play down to them. I guarantee it's the same thing. Like Ben Johnson doesn't want to screw this up. Caleb Williams doesn't want to screw this up in their first year. Everyone's jacked. I can guarantee you they're going to struggle against the Packers. There's not going to be like a shutout or anything like that. And to your point, this is a beautiful way to button this up. Jalen Hunt is indeed the interception leader because of that last one against Washington, and the sack leader at 6.5 sacks. Zach Bond, Cooper DeJean, Makuba, Adoree Jackson, Reed Blankenship, Jahad Campbell with the other interceptions. That is insane. Exactly what Jonathan Gannon wanted to do. Perfect example. Because everyone yelled about Hassan Reddick and everybody else pulling from the edge and dropping back in coverage. Well, when you have an edge who used to play safety and can sack and intercept, that is what makes Vic Fangio unique, because he can fit these fucking tweeners that don't work anywhere, and it works here to an elite level. Zach Bond included, all of these guys, it just ends up working. That to me is his special talent, because if any one of these guys were in a different defense, they'd be backups. Not even close. Jalen Hunt is backing up somebody in Denver, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening here. That's, to me, is what's confusing about, I guess, everyone's belief in, like, hey, they're going to cut this one out and still go on a run. I don't think I'm going to be disappointed if they don't get to the Super Bowl at this point. Like, I've reined that in, too. I'll be ecstatic if they go back-to-back here, but this is what back-to-back teams look like, guys. They're the last team out. They've been wire to wire for 2 years. It's not like they can't be horrendous. They're not going to pull out the rug, and it's not going to look like Tampa Bay. I just don't believe that. So, any other final thoughts here, Kyler?
The last thing that I'll say is, as far as this offense goes, is I think the great model to look after, and it's been mentioned a couple of times, but I think the most recent great model to look at when you're looking at this offense and this team really is that 2023 Chiefs team, where they struggled offensively all year and they finally turned up in the playoffs. But the key difference between that is they had Andy Reid on the sideline, who was really, really great for that offense and knew how to get the best out of his players. And that's why I'm not as confident in really Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni. I'm confident
this year. Kyler, they don't run the team this year. And we've been saying this for 18 weeks. This is Vic Fangio's team, and the offense is here to support it.
I just don't know how many games you could win like that.
11.
I don't know.
11! And win the division!
I mean, sure. That's great. But can you win 4 in a row for me? Do you hear that already? I hear it. Do you hear that? Do you hear that, Kyler? I hear the organs playing. Oh, they're coming. Oh, they're coming, Kyler! They're coming! I hope so. I hope so. I hope that they go into the link and put up 40 on Kyle Shanahan's head. I hope they do. I will be the happiest man on Monday if they do it.
Listen to
I will
me,
be on
Kyler.
this.
Listen to me. Brock Purdy ain't making it out of the first quarter. It's Mac Jones from 2 to 4. And if you can beat that, then you're going to advance. Brock Purdy is not making it out of the link alive.
I don't think so either.
Full stop.
Jalen Phillips is going to get after him.
Yes, that dude is not considered an idiot. I don't know why. Brock Purdy's an idiot. He's a 6-foot lunatic. He's not composed. Gunslingers and terrible dancing. Like, he is not. Just, you'll wait and see, guys, okay? You'll wait and see. Kyler, thanks so much for joining me this morning, man. I look forward to chatting with you mostly on Monday mornings and whenever we get together here, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Let's beat the Niners on Sunday. Go Birds.
Go Birds.